Although landing on the moon is nothing new to humanity, building a colony on the lunar surface would certainly be a new and exciting challenge. With the recent breakthroughs in space exploration, we are no longer asking if, but how and when will it happen? And we're picturing what the crucial first few years will look like when we finally establish a colony on our natural satellite. Today, we're answering the extraordinary question: what will the first 10,000 days on our moon base be like? And what would our colonization look like after 2 decades? Could sci-fi movies become a reality? Keep watching till the end to find out. Day 1 to Day 1000. Launch of the Lunar Gateway Space Station. A Starship departs the dock and moves toward the moon's surface. 4 astronauts were flown from the Earth to the Lunar Space Station by a NASA Orion spacecraft. 2 have been brought aboard the Starship HLS, or Human Landing System. These astronauts are the first to start work on constructing the first lunar base, ushering in the moon's industrial period. As a backup against extinction, an age that creates lunar dust barriers, lava tube homes, light-bending towers, the magnetic lunar train, and human DNA is delivered to storage vaults on the moon. Day 1100 to Day 1900. Cube satellites orbit the moon throughout the first several years in search of lunar ice water. At the South Pole, Viper rovers are searching for several kinds of lunar ice. To collect the ice from beneath the lunar surface, prime ice drills are sent into action. Ice is required for the creation of fuel, water, and oxygen. With the use of 3D LiDAR scanners, other rovers explore and map neighboring lava tubes. Testing on a plant-based adhesive and loose regolith from the moon to make a 3D printing building material has begun. Deliveries are made to the lunar South Pole of the first Artemis habitation and life support modules. A deal to protect historically significant lunar sites is signed on Earth. The Tranquility Base and the first footprints are listed as historical sites and are protected from nearby landings that would destroy the areas with lunar dust. An electrodynamic dust shield is built and begins testing. A moving electrical field, like how hair sticks to a balloon with a charge, is used to repel lunar dust, protecting spacesuits, solar panels, and habitats. Day 2000 to Day 4000. The Gateway Space Station, the Moon, and Mars are all connected by the cosmic Starlink network. Construction of a new command post and communications infrastructure is visible. The International Lunar Research Station, or ILRS, which is being built by China and Russia, starts its construction phase. Research is being done to create live soil from lunar regolith. In order to test the first vehicle fueled by lunar rocket fuel, the team at the Artemis Base Camp refuels an unmanned launch vehicle with lunar rocket fuel. The ILRS programs of China and Russia start constructing their own lunar space stations. Crew personnel and cargo are transported to Mars by the Deep Space Transport Vessel. Between lunar and Martian orbits, it transits. Within the Moon's orbit, maintenance takes place. The first emergency solar flare evacuation warning is sent to astronauts by satellites, giving them time to seek shelter inside their habitats. Building a sizable, translucent dome that acts as a greenhouse is the first step in the process of lunar para-terraforming. It gets the moniker Lunar World Home. Plants contribute to the recycling of organic human waste and the creation of oxygen from CO2. Crops are genetically altered to increase their radiation resistance and adaptability to low-gravity environments. On the Moon, the burgeoning industrial age is being fueled by the farming of plants to make the 3D printing glue needed in building. The lunar bases start to expand more quickly. A cargo ship needs 15 days to travel from the United States to Europe, but just 3 days to get to the Moon. Day 4100 to Day 6000. The ILRS and the Artemis base have now both been built at the South Pole of the Moon. Currently, there are more than 20 nations represented on the moon, ranging from Australia and Germany to India and Mexico. Above, 2 satellites are in orbit. These stations on the moon serve as hubs for transfers. Small shuttle spacecraft are used to carry crew and cargo down to the moon's surface, rather than employing huge spacecraft, which require heat shields and air brakes to return to Earth. The International Lunar Research Station is a town-sized community that serves as a rudimentary robotic science base. Lunar rovers survey and patrol the surface. Biomedical tests have started, and the ILRS has created lunar-based astronomy and Earth observation capabilities. Teams of scientists and explorers are present at the Artemis base. Robotic rovers cover inflatable dome shells with layers of hardened lunar dirt, earning them the moniker Hobbit Houses. The buildings are shielded from radiation and micrometeorites by the hardened Earth. The crater telescope is being constructed, and a makeshift shelter has been created inside a lava tube. Large underground tunnels, appropriate for the construction of enclosed shelters with steady temperatures, were left by volcanic lava, which eventually created these tubes. The 2 main bases are situated close to the Shackleton crater at the South Pole. A day on the moon is equal to 29.5 days on Earth, and the moon revolves once every 27.3 days. Away from the poles, areas have very lengthy nights, which makes it difficult to produce solar energy. At the poles, the sun is constantly on the horizon. The craters in this area are always under shade. Ice-cold water may live in the cold temperatures of the shadows, and constant connection with Earth is conceivable at the poles. Currently, spacecraft being sent from Earth to Mars are being refueled using fuel production facilities on the moon. For Martian astronauts, there are even training facilities on the moon. The launch of the Neil Armstrong Terra Solar Farm is a significant event in the moon's industrial age. An insect was discovered in the hydroponic greenhouse. Its origin is unknown, but it appears that life always finds a way. University students start making moon landings for paid research missions. The moon now uses swarm robotics. Solar panels are installed on micro rovers, which are 8 by 4 centimeters or 3 by 1.5 inches in size. They are used to establish temporary mining outposts, since the tiny robots can move to one another and connect to form a single huge solar panel. The first boring tunnel digger is sent by SpaceX to be utilized for constructing permanent buildings and dwellings in lava tubes. Day 6100 to day 7500. The flurry of lunar mining. In order to secure resources, lunar mining is expanding, and geographical spheres of national power are growing. Along with rare earth metals like lanthanum and neodymium, mining also produces aluminum and titanium. Businesses are rushing to extract the isotope helium-3, which is used to power fusion reactors on Earth and the Moon. It does not produce any hazardous nuclear waste and is not radioactive. Helium-3 is abundant on the lunar surface as a result of solar flare bombardment. Without regulation, an attitude of winner takes all has emerged, and tensions start to escalate. The first asteroid mining effort to divert an asteroid into lunar orbit has started. The 1-kilometer-wide, dark side of the moon location of the Lunar Crater Telescope becomes operational. The telescope is protected from both electrical and radio noise produced by the sun and the Earth by the moon. The Crater Telescope studies the cosmos while collecting information about the very early universe, when the first stars were formed. To preserve the ability to see deep space, a treaty is struck at the UN banning lunar mining activity on the dark side of the moon. Hotels in Earthview are occupied by travelers. The most unnerving sense of being alone is when brave explorers gaze out into the darkness on the dark side of the moon. On Earth, the first Lunar Employment Board launches, looking for bartenders, hoteliers, musicians, and farmers. It takes 2 months to get ready for moon-based life. The certification of lunar deployment is given to trainees. As people live longer on the moon and the Earth, and as civilizations mingle and shift, a space Creole is beginning to emerge. This produces the first accent and language from an extraterrestrial civilization. Day 7600 to day 9000. Mirrors atop light-bending towers reflect sunlight functioning as mini suns into the moon's shadowy craters. This reflected sunlight is collected by solar arrays to power tiny outposts. Millions of years have passed without any sunlight reaching these gloomy craters. At the Lunar Rocket Factory, rockets are now completely 3D produced there. Materials from the moon and asteroids that have been diverted into lunar orbit are used by Relativity Space. The lunar outpost of humanity is now a self-sufficient colony. Robotics and automated facilities require little human input. Humans can transition from the lunar industrial age to the current information age thanks to technologies like terraforming domes, nuclear fusion plants, mining robots, and access to materials on asteroids. Concentrating their efforts on astronomical research, scientific exploration, tourism, and escorting people further into the solar system. The Earth Defense Network, an automated detection and early warning system, is currently being built. Phased array sensors and electromagnetic rail blasters, which are capable of long-range monitoring and able to destroy tiny to medium-sized objects, are fitted to satellites deployed in orbit around the planet and the moon, either organic or sentient objects. Day 9100 to day 10,000. Space station factories and orbiting asteroids dock in the lunar sky. On the moon, the floating lunar train spreads out. Magnetic cargo robots hover above an adaptable, simple-to-set-up solar-powered track. Neodymium, which was mined on the moon and used to manufacture supermagnets on Earth, is now worth more there. The Lunar Laser Station is currently running. Modern solar sail spacecraft are powered by lasers rather than sunlight. The sail is moved forward through space by lasers that target it. Using ground-based lasers on Earth and the moon, a huge laser sail spaceship takes flight from the planet. Construction has started on asteroids placed in lunar orbit as platforms for lunar space elevators, which will replace chemical rocket launches. The Dark Side Deep Space Observatory Network, which is made up of numerous connected telescopes, becomes operational. It keeps an eye on and monitors space activity. The Earth Legacy undertaking has finished. There are several extinction-level vaults that have been created from deep lava tubes on the moon that are protected from solar radiation, meteorites, and human activity. Humanity's information and DNA are being transported for off-planet storage. The biological information and all of humanity's knowledge are kept in these vaults under lock and key. The genetic material from the 9 million or more species of plants, animals, fungi, and crops that exist on Earth is kept cryogenically frozen in the Lunar DNA Vault, together with human DNA. The Data Vault keeps the history, culture, and digital knowledge of humanity. Humanity will have the resources and knowledge needed to reconstruct the Earth if something were to happen to it. The moon will become a space library, an extension of human memory, orbiting around the Earth, safeguarding mankind's most precious secrets.